zone. First things first, the trading zone, right? Which is where we find the 2-hour going south. We post that in the Discord. We can see the 2-hour going south. And the second zone that we got is our trading zone, which is our 4-hour RSI breaking down. And that's our trading zone here. And we create this entire trading zone until it breaks above the 20. So that's the trading zone. Within that trading zone, you're going to use the 2-hour RSI to basically pick your 2 legs of this trading zone. There's normally always 2 legs, meaning like when you hear something go up and then people say, I'm going to enter on the bounce or the retest. Same thing for shorts. They go one direction, they retest, and then they go the next direction, right? So that's kind of what we have right here. An A trade is the best trade to get into. This is the one I want. This trade I like because the 2 hours on its way down, the 4 hour starts to come down. There's always some type of correction, and then the 2 hour starts to find its way up. And I love this entry right here. When the 2 hour starts to break back down, this is the trade I want, because that means that consolidation, everyone who's selling is going to see this last pump. They're going to panic and they're going to sell here, and then we're going to write it down because this is going to be a harder continuation, and it's going to give us better gains every single time. So here, this isn't a bad gain zone. If you got in where you're supposed to, this is about a 700% trade. But on this trade here, we're looking at more of a 10%, basically 1,000%. So this trade could either go 7 or 300, where this trade could go to 1,000 or 500, right? And remember, I'm not looking for 1,000% gains. You'll see in the Discord, guys will have them type games. But what I want to do is I want to guarantee that I'm going to hit my 50 to 100% gains, because this is one trade that I want for the week, and I want to make 7 of these a week to guarantee the 6 figures that you want to make. This is the trade you want to make here. You want to make 7 A trades a week to guarantee that you're making 6 figures plus, right? And that's really what we're focusing on here. So that is what we're going to cover today, and these are all based off something really simple, just the RSI. And what that's going to do for you is going to teach you how not to make the mistakes of getting into a trade too early, or not knowing what a trade is going to do, etc. This will break it down to where the trades are very easy to understand. You're following what's called a trend, and the trends are just going to give you a position where they just basically teach you what direction you're supposed to be trading, right? So as long as you're trading with the trend, you're always going to have everything in your favor. And that's really what we want to do. We want to trade in our favor and not having any type of anything against us at that point. It's very, very easy to do. So we're going to keep that in our favor. All right, let me clean this up a little bit here. All right. I don't want to download that, my bad. Get rid of that. All right, so we're here live. Perfect. All right, let's get back in here. So this is a very simple course, right? So you guys understand this part here? B trade, A trade. That makes sense? You guys still hear me in the Discord? Jeffrey, what up, baby? Yeah, hit ones in the chat, guys. Guys, if you understand what I'm saying, hit ones in the chat. Right, so if you got your notebooks and pads, go ahead and put that in there. Let me make sure my Discord still hears me. Yo.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go. You hear me now? Perfect. All right, so basically, guys, hit the ones in the chat. What up, Brian? What up, baby? So this is basically the simplicity, right? Now, B trades are good winning trades.
Simplicity, right? Now, B trades are
just, they're not the highest
good winning
percent.
Trades.
Let me see if I can.
Just, they're not the highest percent. Let me see if I can. They're not the highest.
Make sure when you're in the chat, JO, make sure you hit the little mic on the bottom here, guys.
In the chat, JO.
Make sure you always hit that if you're listening to me on TikTok. All right, thank you, guys. All right, so what happens is these trades happen, and then these trades happen. So if you're tracking a trade, this is your first trade. The secret to a B trade is not to be greedy. Set yourself up with simple trades, 35 to 50% gains. And then I like to wait on the A trade because that is literally the easiest thing to get, and it's a guaranteed winner, right? So I want to win every trade I take. So right now we have guys that are took advantage of this trade, and now they're waiting for the bounce. But the bounce doesn't come until everything finishes. Now what I want to talk about shorts is that even though we got our 2 hours at the bottom and our 4 hours at the bottom, think of like a balloon. As you're filling a balloon, it gets heavier and heavier, and it starts to pull, and then eventually it bounces a little bit, and then if it gets more water, and then it just drags the price down, right? That's what we want to take advantage of. The B and the A trade, that's what you want to do. And this is just using a simple system. You're going to use your RSI system to get yourself these type of trades, keeping it real simple. Now, for us, entries and everything that we do, we have our other indicators that we use to get the entries that we want, and that's what we're going to go in a little bit deeper here on how to get these entries. So let's go off the very first trade, which is the B trade, right? So you can see here, we have a 2 hour, we have our 4 hour. It lets us know that we're starting our trend chain, right? So this would be our trade. Now, what I want to do is take a look at what we call a checklist, right? First thing I like to do is when I go to a checklist, right? I personally like to have a 30-minute red moon, right? So you can see here on the B trade, you see the 30-minute red moon right here? So, you guys see that in the Discord?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
So that is my first, kind of like a checklist for me. Is like I won't make the short trade. Jeffrey, he's like, I'm used to audio. You're good, Jeff. Is I won't make a trade or a short until I have that there, right? That's one confirmation, right? So there's a 30-minute. Now what that lets me know right here, because I have a 2 hour coming down. Here's where the 2 hour started to break down. I get a 30-minute moon, which lets me know that the volume is going in my favor, right? The other thing that I want to look for is the 15-minute volume, right? And this is kind of where you want to understand the difference in volume. So this is blue line is set at the 8, meaning if you slide all the way to the cross, it's at the 8 line, a little bit about 8. Close you can get, then that'll be perfect. The green line is sitting about 4.5, maybe 5, 4.5 area, right? A lot of times we want to enter when the volume on the 15-minute is breaking down and it's below the 4.5. So you see right here, see how the volume is below the 4.5? Here's your 4.5 line, right? I'll take that line right there and I'll make that white. So there's your 4.5 line right there, right? We can see the volume on the 15-minute time frame is now below the 4.5. So when the 2 hour hits and the 30-minute moon hits, we're good to go here for a short. And then as soon as we clear this 4 hour, which happens right in here, we know that we have a solid trade here, and this would be our entry point in this zone here because the volume is where we want it. We have a 30-minute red moon. My other thing that I like to have is an hour red moon. That kind of solidifies any type of trade for me. And let me go in here and see where we're at on that 1 hour. And you can see right here, here's your 1 hour red moon. That had already hit, right? So I'm going to mark this section here. And I'm going to turn this into a white line. And that's just going to let me know. There's my 1 hour moon. I go to my 30-minute. My 30-minute moon hits at the same exact time. When you have the moons hitting at the same time, that means that whatever it's supposed to be telling you is ×2. Right, because normally it goes 15-minute, 30-minute, hour, right? The longer it takes to get a moon, the less momentum it has. Does that make sense? The longer it takes for your moon entries to happen or your moon indicators to happen, the momentum is low. Meaning that when it does happen, the chances of it doing what you want it to do is very slim because there's not that much momentum. Now here we have a green 15-minute moon. So you see how over here Gus was talking about in the live inside the chat. He said he was waiting for the 15-minute, right? So you can see here. Let's see here. Where's Gus? So Gus was talking about getting into a long. And he was talking about he was waiting on the here. OP still waiting for 15-minute. He said red, but he meant green, right? So he's been waiting since 2:19. Been about an hour and a half. he just got his 15-minute green moon, right? So Gus right now is going to be looking for an entry on a long here, right? So he would be entering on this portion right here. This would be Gus's entry right there. It's 154.9. So let's take a look here and kind of take a peek at overall like his reversal play, right? So he's got his 15-minute here. Let's take a look at the overall, right? So let's take a look at the 2 hour real quick. Now his 2 hour is bottomed out. It hasn't started coming back up yet, so there's not full confirmation, but it is after the second move. So remember, first move, second move. So the odds of this actually going in his favor are pretty high because he's taking the second move. His 1 hour is at the bottom, needs to start coming up. So that's in a good spot. And his 4 hour did a double move too. So he's actually in a really good spot here. So OP came up, came back down. So his reversal opportunity is pretty strong right there. So we'll come back, we'll look at longs a bit later. But this is the move that he's waiting for. And I'm gonna go into a OP trade. We want to track his trade. All right. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there so we know where he's at, and I'll come back to him in a little bit. So here's the OP trade. And I'm going to slide in. I'm a little bit behind because his trade already hit. That's all right. He was watching the 15-minute. Okay, so we're going to put that in there and we're going to see how he goes, right? So that's him watching for his reversal. We're going to come back in there and jump on there. Now the reversal looks pretty good because all his numbers are way low, so he looks pretty good there. He should set up, because anytime that you're in a reversal, you're going to see a trade bounce up and down. So when the reversal hits, you can get 30-40%, and then it's going to pull back because it has to continue to find its footing, right? So it could go sideways here for a little while, and that's because we don't have the 2 hour actually breaking up. We don't have any real confirmation, but what he does have in his favor is the 2, the 4, the 1, and all these RSIs are actually in his favor to push up. And he did wait and clear for a 15-minute moon, which he just got here. And that's his entry. So that's his entry right there. Now the thing that I can show you right here is that with the 15-minute, you see where the RSI is at the top there? That means eventually we're going to get some type of pullback. I like to enter when the 15 pulls back and then goes on the run. So we're going to watch both those entries. So this will be the first entry point here that we would have with his entry. And then we're going to come back and take a look at where the second entry happens for that. So we'll double check that after this. Okay, so now let's get back to the short while we're doing that, guys. All right, so now once we had our short happen, right? So let's stay focused on the shorts. As a new guy, as a new person, you want to basically master one skill, and that's going to be doing shorts. And let me put some profits on here. All right, so I'm going to put right here, I'm going to throw a stop loss, and I'm going to put a stop loss here at, anytime I'm in a trade, I always have a stop loss at about 40%, and I'm going to put a profit there. I'm going to put that at 50. So something real simple, the first bounce. And you can see here, the price is going to go a little up and down here because it's got to find its flooring. So we'll come back to that. All right, so now here's what we have. Here's our entry point, right? And these are the two moons that hit. Here's the 2 hour, here's the 1 hour. So we know that after all these things hit for us, right? We go through our line, we need a 2 hour coming down, we need the 4 hour coming down, and the first thing is the checklist, right? What's the checklist, guys? First thing that we look for, guys, is what? First thing we look for, guys, is volume.
2 hour.
Yeah, so walk through the list, So once we have the base of the trade, right? So what's the base of the trade? Well, the base of the trade is the 4 hour RSI, right? Heading in our direction, that's the trend. The second thing is the 2 hour RSI confirming the trend, okay? Right, so the 2 hour started the reversal, right? I guess that would be the other way. The 2 hour would start the reversal or the confirmation, which we see right here. Here's a reversal starting to happen. The 4 hour confirms the 2 hours trend. and now we have a trend, right? So now that we have that trend, to enter into a short, we have very specific things, and it really just comes down to volume, right? So for our checklist, we need the volume below 15. The 15-minute volume, right, needs a 15-minute red moon, and the volume has to be below a 4.5, right? That's like step one, okay? Confirmation of that move is a 30-minute red moon or a 1 hour red moon, okay? So now that we have our 4 hour set here for a trade, now all we do is we slide over to our 15-minute, and all we're going to do here on the 15 minutes, we're going to take a look at our volume, right? Because that's all that really matters. We're going to take a look at the volume, and we can see right here that the volume that we need is below what's called the 4.5 line. Now we already have a 15-minute red moon. We can see that here. So now all we need is confirmation of this trade be having a low volume, meaning that it's going to be, you know, giving up space here, right? So we can see right here, we have a 15-minute red moon. We can see our entry point is right here on this red line. And on that red line, we can see at this point, the volume is way below 4.5. You see that? Here's our 4.5 line right here. See? It is way below that. So this right here, when we got this entry, this alert that the 4 hour is now heading south, we are definitely in the kill zone here. There is no resistance here to this trade. That is completely gone. Now, if we said, okay, we slide over, click on the 30-minute, and just verify the one thing that I want before I go short is a 30-minute moon. I can see that I already had a 30-minute red moon. And then just to make myself super safe, I go to the 1 hour, and I can see the 1 hour already happened. So at this point, I'm going to make this trade. So to make a trade, how do we enter a trade every time? We go to the 30-minute, or to the 3-minute, right? We always enter on a 3-minute, okay? You're going to enter on a 3-minute, and at this point, we're on the B trade, and you can see right here, off this red line, this is the actual area that we'd be looking for a trade to enter, right? What we need here to go ahead here is just confirmation with a 3-minute red moon, and we can see here as we spread out at that moment we have a 4 hour right here. Here's a 4 hour turning red. We can see that we have a green moon at that time, and as soon as that goes to red, which happens right here on this one, on this 3-minute candle, right, that's the beginning of the entry. I'm going to put a box there. That right there is your red moon, and that is happening during a 3-minute red trend. So this big area behind it is red. So red moon, green to red right there, that's the entry. So this is the entry for this particular trade. And now that we're in this trade, we're just going to set our basic profits and everything that we need there. And I'm going to make this green because that's the actual trade that we're making, right? So once we enter a trade, this is a B trade. We're going to set it up for simple moves there, and that's going to be an entry point, which we have right here. And all we want to do is make 50%, right? You want to become an expert at 50% gains, okay? So this area here would be your entry. This would be your entry right off that candle right there. I'll make this one line. So we would be entering off this candle here, and that's just off our 3-minute, and then this entire kill zone. Now, all we want to do is make sure that we make money here. How do we do it? So here's our 3-minute. Let me get my candle right. All right, green moon, red moon. Here's an entry off this candle, right? And I'm going to show you like why having all the extras in there is important, because I'm going to go to the bottom. I'm not going to do the top of this 3-minute candle. I'm going to do the bottom of that next candle, because sometimes you guys have lags. So this would be the entry here. We're going to take this next candle there. And that just makes it more accurate for the guys who are starting off. Now, I'm going to see here, I do have this little bounce that comes in, and we're just going to measure that out real quick so that you guys can understand why we're always doing extra to eliminate these bounces, right? And this is what you want to pay attention to, because this is the mistake a lot of people make, is that they're entering into a trade and then there comes a bounce, and that bounce takes you out of your trade, right? See that bounce right there? So I call it the last hurrah. So right there, that's the last hurrah right there. And this particular last hurrah is worth 0.88, right? Which means that you have an 88% move to the north. Now, when we enter a trade, we always put our trades at a stop loss at 40, right? 35, 40%. I like 40, but 35 to 40, right? So you have to learn to avoid this bounce, right? And this is where you want to take notes here. This is very important. This is the difference between you being in a trade or not in a trade, right? So this is an 88% move to the north side, right? And a lot of guys, probably 95% of traders, will get knocked out by that one move, right? So that move is what you need to avoid, right? So this is where you get your checklist, right? So now let's go back and revisit the entry that we took right here. And that entry was based off of 3-minute moons, 3-minute trends. So let's make sure we're in the right one. So here you go, 3 minute, there's our red. We would have entered here, which would have been the bottom of this candle. And I want to show you what I like to do. So what I like to do is that when I get a red moon, okay, for one thing I like to do is it's kind of like a note, right? Trade with the 3-minute RSI, okay, in your favor. What does that mean? What that means is when this trade happens right here, I'm not too worried about getting in this, right? Because I know this trade is going to be worth a lot of money. My entire job is not to get wicked out. So when I see this red moon pop up and I see right here that the RSI is already past a half line, right? I would want to allow the RSI to get to the bottom, make its way back up, and then whenever it gets to wherever it's going here and starts to come back down, that is the trade, right? And you can see what happens here is that I see my red moon, I let the RSI play out. Okay, does that make sense, guys? What I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying? You have to let the RSI play out. Okay, you want to trade with the RSI in the very beginning. So if we're shorting, right, we want the RSI to go back to the top so that we can short it down. Right, we want the RSI to get back to the top so that we can short it down. Okay, so if we're shorting, we want the RSI. Now, if the RSI, when you get in, you see a red moon and your RSI is above the 80 line, right? You'd be like, okay, this is pretty much a top. You would get that trade. But here, you can see that the line is more about a 50, right? I want it up here. I want it by the top of this perforated line, right? I want it up here, right? Anything below this dotted line, I want to finish out. I want to bounce, right? A lot of times, I just like to get a bounce out of it, no matter what, right? So here's your red moon, and yeah, that means this is overbought and this is oversold, right? But this is a 3 minute, so it's a little bit different on there. So what we're going to see here is that when this red moon hits, we're going to let the RSI play out. It's going to come up, and you're going to notice here we get another green moon, right? That green moon comes, we get a green trend. What do we want to enter on? Red moon, red trend, right? So boom, here comes your red moon. You're in a green trend, right? So in this full reversal, a lot of guys take where they'll wait for the next move. And you'll see what I'm saying here. So this move here would declare that this guy, if he's waiting for the next red moon, his entry would be off of this candle here, right? Another guy would look at this and say, red moon, green trend, I'm going to wait. They let it play out. Red trend hits right here. They would make that entry off that red trend. Now that's the mistake, because your RSI, once you go back to red trend, the RSI has to play out again. The RSI has to go back up to the top. What happens? Green moon comes. You're moving down. Green trend. Eventually you get a red moon, comes down. Your red trend finally hits, comes down, pushes up. This is the most patient entry you could have. It would be right here, because now you have a red moon, a red trend. The RSI went all the way to the top. You guys can see it finally made its move. And then this, when it failed to make it to the top and started down, this should be your entry. So this particular entry here is the safest entry out of all your entries. It's a patient entry, right? And it would be in this point right in here. That's the most patient part of this entry. Now, that's looking at the coin, saying yourself that you're just going to be the most patient trader that's going to happen, right? So let's see right here. We'll take a peek at your move here, and you can see that that move right there was a 1.54% move. So this particular move in this section here, which would be your trade, this particular trade went for 154%. So once again, once you enter your trade, you're not looking for 154% gains. You're learning how to set your trades for 50%, move a stop loss, move the trades up, and put yourself in a position where you're hitting that trade every time, right? So that trade works out for you by being a very cautious trader, right? What's the importance of being a cautious trader, right? The importance is you always win every trade, right? That's the importance of that. That trade right there, 154%, easiest trade for you to make. Real simple to put it in there, right? So now, were there trades inside of here? Yeah, there's a bunch of trades in here that we could have got into. We got in here, we had a red moon, right? You could have got in there, got the trade, but this is the battle. This is the consolidation zone, right? By waiting for everything to go the way you want it, we take home 154%. Remember, once you enter your trade, you'd be entering it with a stop loss of 40%. That never hit. Right, so your stop loss would have been a 40% stop loss. And let's go take a look here, and that would be a 0.4. That's about right. See, I can eyeball it nowadays, boys. There's your 40% right there. It never hit that, so you never hit your stop loss. And then you're taking profits at 50%. Obviously, we know that we already have our profit set, but yeah, you'd be setting your profits up for your 50% take. And obviously, we got that. So there's our 50% move. We easily got that 50% gain. So we smacked that pretty easily. And there you go. That's a winning trade. Very simple. Now keep in mind, guys, also remember, this is the B trade, right? So what is a B trade? B trade just means that we're taking profits earlier. We're not risking it out because things can change here. We want to hit this trade right there. Where's the list of what we want? Who's that? What do you mean a list of what you want, man? What do you mean? What do you mean by that? So that's how simple it is to get yourself in this position, waiting for your indicators to, go through their setup, and then taking your trade when you're supposed to, easily getting your 100% trade. Criteria to enter. We just went over that, bro. We just went over the moons, the volumes, what we're looking for, the checklist, right? So all those checklists came. We entered our trade, 154%. We're set to take 50% profits here, which we did, and that's pretty much all we wanted. Now that's the B trade, guys. Right? That's the first trade. That trade we want to be very cautious of because it is the first trade, right? So once this trade plays out, Now there's a bunch of trades in here that you can get into. There's always two legs in a trade, right? So like here's the first leg of this trade. It bounces, it finds support, there's a push. This is the second leg of the trade, right? So obviously the second leg of the trade, there's another trade in here worth 200%. So as you get better, you know, with trading and everything, you can find these additional trades. But I don't really worry about them too much because all I'm really looking at is the easiest trade to win. And then when you get better at doing this trade, you will execute instead of 50% gains, you will execute for 100 to 150. So you're going to learn to double your money anyways. Your job is to learn how to be in the best trade with the less risk so that you always win by using your RSI. Okay? So that right there, guys. So in the Discord, guys, you guys see what I'm talking about right there? That makes sense for you?
Yeah, if you can, in a moment, just recap all the 4 or 5 steps there. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So first thing, like always, we needed to, you know, your job, remember, like in the Discord, when you see a 2-hour break, whether it's going south or going north, you would put that in. So here was the 2-hour RSI starting to go south, right? We've seen it cross over, started to head south below the 90 line. And we can take a look here. This is the beginning of locating a trade, right? So RSI crosses over. This allows us to be in a situation where we know that we have a possible trade coming up, and you can see basically right here you have a 2-hour crossing down right there, and that's where we put the yellow box. You see that? Right there on the 2-hour. Just like over here, when the 2-hour bounced, it started to head down again. We put the new 2-hour box right there. You see that? That's the yellow. So these 2 yellow boxes are when the 2-hour starts to head down, and then after it pushes up, it starts to head down again. So these are the 2 hours. So step 1 is finding a 2-hour going south. Okay, step 1. Step 2 is locating the 4-hour going south, right? For solid B trades. And this red line right here, this red box that represents the 4-hour, it starts to go down. You can see right here the 4-hour crosses. That's the 4-hour line right there. That's where it starts to go down, right? So this is the beginning of our trade. 2-hour and the 4-hour going down together lets me know that I'm going to have a nice little trade here. That's the beginning. And then all I need from this point is my lower levels to fall in line. So if I go to my 1-hour, right? And a lot of time for me is basically breaking it down is I want at this moment here, as soon as I see a 2 and a 4-hour going in a certain direction, the first thing I want to see is a 1-hour red moon, right? Here's your 1-hour red moon, right? That's beautiful. I also like to have a 30-minute red moon. We can see here that there was a 30. The 30 just lets me know that the volume is in a position that I want it to be in. The 1 hour is just a confirmation. So 1 hour and the 30-minute coming in, that's what I want to see to confirm that my volume is at a level that I want, which is low, right? So I have that already, right? Right? That's what that is. So now, when I go to my 15-minute, because volume is where I'm going to enter, my volume has to be below the 4.5 line. And you can see right here, we have a 4.5 line right here, right? That line. And you can see right here when the 4-hour starts to go down, I'm waiting for volume to be below this line. We already have that, right? Plus we have the 30-minute and the 1-hour moon confirmation. Now, we have to be where we have to kind of look and say, okay, now all that lines up, I can enter this trade. When you're ready to enter the trade, you go to the 3-minute because you enter every trade on the 3-minute. And when you enter a 3-minute trade, you want the 3-minute red moon, 3-minute red trend, but you also want the RSI to reset, right? Because you want to be patient. So when we see this, we can see here, as we see the entry point, the normal entry point would be in here. We can see that we have a green moon, the 4-hour starts to go down. We have a red trend. We allow the RSI to bounce and come back up to test to make sure there's no bounces. And what happens here is that we actually get and this red moon becomes a green moon here before it gets to the top. Plus we get a green trend. You see that green trend? So we would wait that out until we get a red moon, red trend. The RSI is at the bottom. We would allow it to run back up, and this is on the 3 minute. We let it run back up. As you can see right here, we end up getting another green moon. We end up getting another green trend. So we would ride this out, right? Because this is basically just letting us come in here. So what we're really waiting for here is for these things to line up for us, right? Now, a lot of guys, if you're a better trader, right, and as you get better, if you see when you're going to enter right here, right, so when you're going to enter right here and you see it bounce, right, as you get better, you will enter on the top of these bounces. This will be your entry because you know that that's the last hoorah, right? But as a new person, right, you just want to get to where it's like, all right, man, especially if you're dealing with a $4,000 bag. Like, I don't want to take any risk here. I don't want to estimate what's happening. So if I just set myself up and say, okay, just let me know when the 3 minute crosses every time. I get a cross right here. I come look. I see I have a green trend. I wait, go back to doing my life. It crosses over. I get an alert on my phone. Goes up, crosses over here. I go look at my trade. Green moon, green trend. Go back to my life, watch my movie. Come back. I get an alert when this 3 minute crosses. Red moon. I'm like, okay, this looks better. Now I'm watching my trade. And then as I go through this little 15 minutes right here, 3, 6, 9, 15 minutes, I see I have a red moon, and then all I'm waiting for is the red trend, right? And you can see right here, the 3 minute moon comes and I'm waiting for the trend, and when the trend hits, I'm waiting for the RSI to go to the top or start to reject. And you can see right here, it starts to reject and starts to head down right there. That would be an entry for me right in here. See that? Because I can see here it's now finally weak. It's not making it to the top. It went halfway and it rejected. So right there would be an entry for me to take that. Now let's say you missed that as a new person. It comes back down, goes all the way back up to here, right? And now it starts to come down and you're like, perfect. Red moon, red trend, 3 minute RSI topped, didn't make it, starts to break down. Here's my entry point, and you can see right here that would actually be that candle right there. But we took the bottom of that candle, right? You would enter a little bit higher, right? I took the bottom of the candle because I want to show you that if you're terrible at entries, if you're terrible at getting in, you're probably going to get in at the worst case scenario. So I just put that there so that you have an understanding that even if you sucked, you would enter here. You see what I'm saying? So even if you were terrible, you still would have entered right here, right? So you should have entered up here and made a lot more money, but let's just put you here so that way it's for everybody. Now, the target for 50% is this line right here. So all I needed this to do is once I entered, I put my stop loss, right? I put my stop loss and I said, okay, my stop loss is going to be 40%, right? Here's my stop loss. Never hits my stop loss, I enter. And then at the end of it, my profit is 50% right here, and boom, it hits. So there we go, winning trade, just like that. And this is going to be recorded so you can go back and watch this again. So this is a winning trade inside the B trade. Okay, that's a winning trade inside the B trade. Okay, very simple. Now, let's get to the good trade. This is the trade that we really want now that we have a kill zone. Did that help you out, man? That makes sense right there? Cash, that makes sense for you?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So now we want to get to the point where we now have the second trade. We're trading OP, guys. OP, we're trading OP. Alright, so now, this is what we call an A trade, right? There's two trades inside of a zone, right? First trade here is the, he muted his mic. So here's your A, first trade is your B trade, right? So that's why we have the B here. The B trade is the first trade that happens when there's a trend change, right? This is the change of the trend, okay? So now, well, let's get rid of that. Okay. So now, this is the beginning of the change of the trend. Anytime there's a change, there's always a bounce or a what they call it, a bounce or a retest or whatever, right? That happens. It bounces. It starts to retest, and that's kind of where the entire thing is. So for me, I like to take the trades on the second leg, right? So just like you have a thing that when you see a trade going up, it comes back down and retests, you enter and then you ride it. It's the same thing. Here's the first short. I like for it to bounce and then I take it. And what I mean by that is simply based off the 2-hour RSI, right? So you can see right here, when I slide in the 2-hour RSI, I'm going to see right here with a 2-hour RSI for the first trade. This is the first yellow box. This is the second yellow box, right? You guys see that? So the first 2 hours starts to go up here, fights its way, makes its way above, and I want it above the 20 line, right? I want it above the 20. I want it, touching that somewhere in this area, as long as it gets to the 20. So right here, I can see that it comes across, and what I'm waiting for is it to break or touch it and come back down. This was a real nice one because it broke above, and then right here, you can see that it starts to come back down. Now that is the second trade of this yellow box, okay? That is what we call an A trade, right? What's an A trade? An A trade is basically the best trade of the two trades. What it is, it's a higher percentage trade, it's always yielding its win, and it just makes life easy because I know that trade's gonna do what I want it to do. It's the safest trade I can possibly make, and so forth. So let's walk through this trade, right? So first things first. Step 1, 4-hour RSI, already coming down. We already know that. 2-hour RSI. First B trade came down, right? See, went up, and now it's coming down again. Geo, I do this in real time, bro. I do this real time all the time, guys. Right? So let's walk through this here. We just did, this trade is in the Discord, Geo. I'm walking through how the trade happened. Alright, so as we go through here, we're gonna have this right here. So here's our 4 hours headed down. We wait for the 2 hour to bounce. It starts to head down. Here we go. We get an alert. Bada boom, bada bing. And now we start looking for the entries. What do I need to enter? Right? Step 1 is I want to know if there's a 1 hour red moon, right? So if I go to my 1 hour, I take a look here, I can see there's an A trade. You see how the A trade is over here? I can already see that the 1 hour red moon exists. It's already happened. We're good to go. I go to my 30-minute. I look for my 30-minute moon. Now, here's the beautiful part, right? Here's your red moon on your 30, right? So see here. 30-minute red moon was part of the B trade. It went green, right? That's where you see this little bounce here. 30-minute moons are very important. They have a lot of volume behind them. 30-minute bounces, comes across, becomes red again, comes down, right? We can see right there. Becomes green again while we're waiting for the 2 hour. And then you can see right here the 2 hour on this line. This is your A trade. The 2 hour becomes south again right here. And where we would enter is when we get a 30-minute red moon. You guys see that? So the 30-minute red moon would happen right here. This would be my entry point, right? See, 30-minute red moon, because I already have my 1 hour. 30-minute red moon, because I already have my 1 hour. That make sense? So now, to enter this trade right here on this candle, what I need is the volume to be below the 15, below the 4.5. You can see right here, the volume is completely below the 4.5. You guys see that? Here's your 4.5 line, right? Volume completely gone. See that? No volume. It's actually negative. So we're good to go here, right? Good to go right here. And now I have, see this red pad behind it, right? So all I have to do here, because remember, what is the checklist? 4 hour, 2 hour breaking down. That's the beginning of the trade. 1 hour red moon, I have that. 30-minute red moon, there I have it. 15, now what I need is the volume below the 15, right? I have that. Now I need to enter my trade. What's my trade? I go to my 3 minute like I always do. right? Walk through the same scenario. So right here, I have an opportunity to enter this trade. The 30-minute red moon hits right here on this green line. What do I need to enter the trade? I need a 3-minute red moon, 3-minute red trend. You can see this entire thing is blood, and my RSI has to bounce up. Now you can see here the RSI comes down, bounces up. What do we have? We have a green moon pops up, okay. We wait, RSI goes back down, we get a red moon, bounces up, right? Green moon comes, we're waiting patiently, right? Now if you're a really good trader, you'd be entering here because you're going to be cost average buying, but I want to show you the most patient trade possible, okay? I'm not in a hurry to make this trade because I know this trade is going to be worth a lot of money, so I don't need to rush my trade, I don't need to rush my entry, I don't need to rush any of this. So I'm putting my alerts for my 3-minute crossing. So every time the 3-minute RSI crosses, I get an alert. Crosses down here, I have a green moon, I wait. Crosses back, I'm chilling. Crosses back, I get another email, I come look at my trade, I have a green moon, comes over another crossing, I come back, and this is the one I finally get with a red moon, starts to head down. You know, let's take our time here. I want you guys to understand that you can be the most patient trader in the world and get what you want until you can learn how to master these trades up here. Personally, the thing about an A trade, right? Here's the beautiful thing. When you have an A trade has more pullback, meaning that bounces are very limited. So when this 30-minute red moon actually shows up right here, I don't really need to be super careful on my 3-minute because I already have it all set up here. So once my red moon turns and I get a green moon here, right? So red moon, red trend, this could be an entry spot here, but I would let my RSI run one time, which would be here, and then I would be looking to enter off here, right? But if you're being super patient and you're walking the system, here's how your system would go, okay? RSI to the bottom, enter at the top. Green moon, don't enter. Come back, red moon comes down, green moon, no entry. Comes back down, comes up, red moon. Now look at here, right? Looky. Now when this red moon hits, right? See how this red moon hits? As we come across, red moon, RSI comes down, starts to come up. Green moon, RSI is at the top, it starts to come down, right? We can see it coming down. It bounces up, and then we get a red moon right here. Where's the RSI when we get this red moon? Where's the RSI? You guys see how it's above?
Crossing, right?
You see, yeah, it's crossing, but it's also, see how it's above the 80 line? See how it's right here crossing? You see how it's in this upper section here? See how it's on the top section? Here's your 100 line, here's your 90 line, here's your 80. So right here, when we get this red moon, right, where are we? We're above the 80, you see that? This is the RSI on the top side, so this is my entry. I don't want to enter if the RSI is below the 50 over here, right? I want that to come back up. But this just started to come down. You see that? This is the beginning of it coming down, right? This is the entry that I'm waiting for. So I would enter at the bottom of that little candle right there. So let me roll this over. We would enter at the bottom of that candle. And let me see. And like before, we're not going to do a super entry. We're going to do the worst entry, right? So normally you would be entering, this candle would wick down and be somewhere up here, and you would be entering somewhere up in this area here. So we're going to take this entry and we're going to move it up, and we're going to enter in the middle of the body. So right in here, okay? So now, to the top side, we need a 40% stop loss, which is right here. I'll put that line in there. So this is our stop loss, 40% from our entry, and now we need profit. And now, since this is an A trade, right? An A trade, we know that we're going to get an easy 100% on our trade. So we can set our profits once we enter. We can set our profits for 100%. You guys can see here, once we got our entry point, right? Our entry point was right off of here. That's our entry point right there. That's our stop loss, our entry, and then you can see right here we easily cleared our 100% profit. See that? Now, is it worth more? Yes, it's worth a lot more. So if you guys, when you learn how to do this system properly and you can get in and out and you understand what you're doing, just like the very first one, you can see here you easily cleared 175%. So we'll just call this trade another 154% gain. So there's another 150% gain. Does that make sense, guys? So from the top to the bottom, 150%. That makes sense? You guys understand how that's done? Jorge, you understand how that's done? Yeah. We use 100x leverage, big dog. We use 100 leverage.
Yeah.
So we use 100 leverage, guys. So this is the system that we have, guys. If you're interested in learning how to do this system, or just the basics, right? So if you guys, the system is a full trading academy. If you guys are interested in just understanding how to do a system where you don't lose your money and you can become a better trader, send me an email and we'll get you squared away where you can basically learn a very simple strategy to make sure that you stop losing all your money and actually become a profitable trader. And then the academy is a step up where when you're serious about actually making six figures, right? So this is a very simple strategy to keep you guys to where you can not lose your bag every day and actually be a profitable trader. All right, so that, guys, is literally the breakdown of the trade. That's an A trade, that's a B trade, and that is the system that we do. And then that's pretty much it. Now, once those trades kind of finish, there are multiple trades in here. Once you get better at trading, there is another, it's actually kind of stupid. When you look at it, this trade right here, if you entered it properly and you ran it properly, your entry point to the bottom of this trade where it bounced was actually worth 800%. So when you become a better trader, you can see here that you could have easily muscled out 108% on this trade right here. You guys see that's just ridiculous sometimes. So the master trade, or the trade that we teach, is it's good for 300 to 800%. We average 500% gains. And so as a student, remember, we're not looking for 800% gains. We're looking for a very simple system that allows us to win every trade. And remember, we're only looking for 50%. All right, it's only 50%, guys. Now, the trade did way more than you need, so it was an easy win to get. Platform that we use, guys, the platform that we use is, we use MEXC here. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you real quick. Take a screenshot, and you can take advantage of the VIP. This is going to be a VIP link for you. And all that's going to do for you is basically when you do some trading, it'll put it where you can, cheaper fees, you get like, now we pay about 30% less than everybody else. airdrops. When you trade certain coins, we get paid money to trade coins. So there's a lot of bonuses. You can use a VPN. A lot of people use a VPN for sure. For sure. Take a screenshot, guys. That referral code will get you a VIP. And there's also they give, like here, you can. I mean, they give away a lot of money, bro. I mean, I probably make $300-400 a week in free money from them, just randomly for coins I trade. So every week they have a bunch of coins that they're trading, and then if you're trading those coins, you actually get yourself in a good position. All right. So now that we got that all squared away, you guys see how that's done. Simple things to do. Keeps it safe and sound. And I want to go back here because we're going to go into the reversals and how that does. But this is how you do this trade, guys. So it's a simple understanding of the two trades that we're doing and how to execute them and how to take advantage of them a little bit longer, right? So another thing that, for me, some guys will go, well, how do I hold a trade longer? Well, it's very simple. Once you get into your trade, you can see that we got into a trade here. We start to break down, and we see a red trend come into that play, right? See a red trend in that. I just normally ride my 3-minute red trend until it changes. Yeah, once I get that run, it just kind of hold that out, and then I just close on a green red 3-minute trend, which would have been here. So that would have cleared about 600% on that trade. 3-minute red trend is where I get out. But that's something you guys learn as you move forward. When you first start the system, guys, just do the basics. You remember the goal is to be a guy who can make every trade you do win. If you can do every trade and win, I mean, what is that worth to you? Like, say that over and over. If every trade I did won, right? If I make every trade and it's a winning trade, imagine all the trades you do, right? What if you won every trade? Would that help you out? Like, that's kind of like the question you have to ask yourself. If I can win every trade, would that help me out? Right?
You see, are you entering the A trade off a 3-minute chart on MEXC or a 2-hour chart on MEXC?
No MEXC. It's all TradingView. We enter trades on. We trade on MEXC. That's our trading platform. But all
correct. So when
you
actually want to get in the trade,
mm-hmm.
you actually on the 3-hour chart in MEXC for the A trade, or 15 or 2-hour chart.
You keep saying MEXC. What do you mean? We're on TradingView.
Well, you don't trade on trading. I'm talking about we actually get in the trade to make.
Yeah. So I would all right. So there's no time frames on MEXC that I'm worried about. I make the entry on my 3-minute on my TradingView. When I see the TradingView has what I want, then I go to MEXC and I just place my order.
MEXC has charts. So the time chart on the chart.
Yeah, but I don't need that chart. I'm on TradingView. Yeah, right here. So you see this MEXC? You see how there's a chart here?
Yeah, exactly. So the top of chart right now, you're on 15-minute chart.
Yeah, that has nothing. This only matters if you're actually charting on MEXC. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with like me entering a trade, because I'm using these time frames on TradingView.
Correct. Exactly.
Yeah. So this can be on a 4-hour when I enter. It don't matter.
So yes, where you enter that trade right now. So it doesn't matter what chart, what time frame you're in when you place a trade on MEXC. What I'm talking about for the A trade.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because you're entering off of the TradingView 3-minute.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's if you didn't have TradingView and you wanted to use MEXC, then you would chart off the MEXC, right? Which would be you entering off a 3-minute on your MEXC, but you'd have to put your indicators here. So they don't have our indicators on MEXC. So right here, we wouldn't be able to see a trend. We wouldn't be able to see a moon. You see what I'm saying? The only way we see those indicators are if we're on TradingView. Yeah, those are just charting. If you're charting on MEXC, you'll see that. Alright guys, so that's the basics of that, man. So I'm going to save this video here. So this will be what we call a, just kind of like a short introduction to the foundation, right? So that's all this is. For me, confirmation of a long is a lot different than a short, right? So now that we just did the basics of a B trade and an A trade, we know one thing is that after an A trade, that this OP is pretty much done, right? And the next move for OP is a long, right? So when we take a look at that, it's the same scenario as we go backwards. We want everything to go in the reversal, right? So what we first need is confirmation of a reversal of a trade, right? So for me, I like, before I go in any direction of a trade, I need the 4 hour to basically let me know that it's heading in a direction, right? So this 4 hour ended when it bounced, right? So it had the 4 hour bounce, it didn't make it, came back down. So right now, to me, the 4 hour is still in a downward trend, and it's in a downward trend until it breaks above. Like what I want to see for this is for the 4 hour to actually break above the 20 line, right? So for me to go long here, I need the 4 hour to kind of like show that it can touch and get through that 20 line, right? I just want solid confirmation that we have a lot of value. You know what I'm saying? So let's take a look here at what's happening with OP at the current moment, because there's a lot of guys right now that have made money on this short and they're looking to go long, right? So we can see the earlier long that we placed, our stop loss hit at our 30%. So it didn't run like it was like the guys were looking, because they waited for what's called a 15-minute, right? So we did see the 15-minute kind of make some move to about 20-30% profits, and then it came back down. But let's take a look at why you want, or how to catch a reversal on a trade, right? So OP's hot right now, so let's start off with the 4 hour. So right now the 4 hour hasn't broken above the 20 line, right? So currently this is still a bearish move down, right? So it's not done moving down. Secondly, as I look at my 2 hour, my 2 hour is not above the 20, right? And the 2 hour is the beginning of the trend change, right? Meaning that it has to break above the 20 for us to have any type of acknowledgement that this is going to be a long, right? So notice here, the 2 hours on the floor, right? So this is far from a long, okay? Now, we go to our 1 hour, none of that really matters because there's no volume to move up yet, right? So there are no longs here currently on OP, right? So the one thing that the guys were looking is sometimes when you guys use moons, you get a little caught up with using the moons for a trade without having the trends in line. So earlier Gus was looking for a long trade, right? And I'm making this video actually for Gus. Gus had a trade where he wanted to get in on the 15-minute moon, right? Let's go back and take a look. And if you look here, you can see here that we have Gus. He's waiting on the 15-minute green moon. Now, the thing about that is that you don't want to enter a trade in the beginning of its run. You want to have it on a confirmation, right? So you want here, OP entry 15404, right? That's his entry right now. So he's not too bad off. He's in 15404. He got in right when the 15-minute hit, and we're going to go look at that. So he's got a very early entry, but it's also, you know, I'm going to show why he has to wait, right? Because we don't want to make, this isn't about making winning trades. This is about making the most, this is about never losing a trade, right? This is about entering the trade every single time at the best possible point with everything else done, right? So he's got a 1504, right? So as you guys can see, I want to point this out. So this is very important because this allows me to help you. So as we can see earlier when we started this off, we could see that we were looking for Gus earlier, and Gus came out and said that he was waiting for OP to hit a 15-minute green moon, right? We seen that earlier. He wanted to hit the 50. I think it was at 2 o'clock. Now let's back it up here. I want to show you guys how you document your trades, right? So here, Gus is looking for OP 15-minute. He said red moon. He should have just He said he meant green, right? So he's looking for an entry today on a 15-minute green moon. That just lets me know he's looking for a trade, right? Now, as I go along, you can see here that Gus, when he finally gets his 15-minute green moon, right, he's going to post that he made a trade. And right here, see how he put his entry point right there? So now I know his trade that he did, and now I can go review the trade, which I'm going to review for him right now. So let's go over here. So he has an entry at 15404. So let's back this up. What happened here is that he entered on the 15-minute green moon, right? So let's go ahead and take this box here. We're going to use this for his entry, and we're just going to work our way backwards. So this is a long position, but this also shows you guys how I can help you review your trades when you make a trade. So his entry is 5404. So let's go to, there's his entry right there, okay? So now we know Gus's entry is on the top of that candle. Now this is just going to give you an example. I just showed you guys how this kind of works out, right? I always tell you guys, if you had a greatest entry in the world, you would have entered down here. But the reality is you guys don't have the greatest entries. And you can see here that Gus actually entered on the top of that candle. You see that? So he's kind of in the middle of the body right there, right? This is basically why when I do the examples, I'm doing the examples based on, you know, like real logic. Normally, most people say, all right, you enter here, right? They would give you the greatest entry and act like you made money. We need to enter this correctly. So this right here is where Gus actually entered. So Gus entered on a 15-minute green moon right here. You see the 15-minute green moon? He entered at 1504, right? So 1504 is actually right there. So that's Gus's entry. You see that? You guys all see that? 1504. That's Gus's true entry. I'm going to put a price label there so you guys can understand. 1504. So that's Gus's entry right there. You guys understand how I did that? That makes sense? Now, the reason why it's not a good entry, right, is because Gus didn't wait for confirmation. And we're going to trade live here. Show you guys what I'm talking about. Alright, so now that we have this, please show, should I get this indicator? Yes, bro. You should always get this indicator, man. You gotta join the academy, guys. Send me an email if you're looking to get in. I'll shoot you back. And we will talk. Here's an email of how to get in. If you're in the US, man, vccryptonation@gmail. Make sure you send me your cell phone number so that we can get a hold of you and get in there. This coin right here is OP, guys. You can always tell the coin. Look at the top right. Yeah, we create. So the name is VC Crypto Nation. So look up VC Crypto Nation. All right, so or whatever Alf named it that day. Sometimes he does weird stuff. All right, so most of them should be VC Crypto Nation. All right, so right here, send an email. But let's go into this trade here. So Gus right here entered right here, guys. Now let me show you what the problem is. You see these big wicks, right? Send me a Gmail, bro. Here, Gmail, vccryptonation@gmail. VC Crypto Nation. We got two different things you can do, man. You got two different options for you guys. Send me a Gmail. All right. So now the reason why this isn't a good entry, guys. You see these wicks that are happening? You see those big wicks? These are what you're trying to avoid happening when you're in a trade, right? So we're gonna take a look here and see like what the problem is. Don't forget, our stop loss, guys, is always set at 50%, right? So, or 40% right there. So in reality, here's Gus's entry, right? That means Gus's stop loss is right here. Okay? You guys see how that wick took Gus out? His stop loss on a 1505 is a 15346. He hit that and got stopped out. Right? So right now Gus is too early, right? So I'm gonna basically put this here. I'm gonna tell Gus too early. making video right now. All right. So let's get in here because we're gonna be looking for an entry here anyways. You can see here we got the 15 minutes. See how the 15-minute bounce came down? Right. So let's work this out. So now we have our stop loss. We have our entry point. Everything's kind of sitting in there. 1504. That's the entry right there. Now we got that. So we're all set up here now. So now let's get into like how this trade actually works. Yeah. What up, boy? I know you're gonna ask about Gala. How's Gala? Gala Games is good, bro. All right. So now let's dig in here, right? So obviously Gus's entry was a little bit too fast, but let me show you like if you're doing the system. Let's see if Gus actually did well, because Gus could have made money here, right? If he sets his profits, right? So what's the profit? The profit is 50%, right? So let's set this at 50%. Okay. Let's put that line here, and I want to show you that even if you make a mistake, right? Even if you guys are bad at what you do, the system is so good that if you follow the damn system, you will win. So let's say Gus entered at 1504, right? Which would be this. I'm gonna put it a little bit lower. I'm gonna put 15402. I'm gonna make it, actually let me put it higher, 15407, okay? This is a little bit higher than Gus's entry, which makes it, make sure it hits. His 50% profit is right there. I'm gonna put that right there, okay? So this is what Gus needed to hit to make 50% profit. You guys see that? You see this zone here? You guys see what I'm talking about? That's Gus' zone right there. That's 50%. You guys see that? No Dogecoin. Doge Dillium, baby. Don't get on my Doge, bro. Be hating on my Doge. I'll tell you, it's gonna be $1.50. All right, so here's 50% gains, right? So this little box here, this little zone here, is 50% gains. Okay. Now, hopefully, Gus did what he was supposed to do. Okay. Following the system, right? Gus had an entry at 15405. Gus enters. He sets his profit for 50% at 15489. He's done with his trade. What happens? Trade hits immediately. Gus is out of the trade. He made 50% on his bag. Bada boom, bada bing. You see how that works? You guys, I'm trying to make this a very important point. You have to start setting your fucking profits. Because if you don't, you're going to hit your profit. It's going to wick you out and you're going to be down. So instead of making 50%, Gus would have lost 40%. You see that? Gus making 50%, Gus losing 40%. Did he set his profit for 50 or did he not follow the system? Don't follow the system, they make you pay for it. Follow the system, 50%, you feel like a god. Make sense? All right, now that's Gus getting in this trade. He's way too early. It was a bad trade anyways, but he still would have made money if he did the system. All right, now let's get to the trade that we want to make, which is the trade after all these wicks and the trade that we're supposed to get into, right? First things first. We can't enter a long on this trade because we haven't got a confirmation of a 2 hour. Yo!
How you doing? This is Pat.
Hold up, man. Hold up. Who this?
Gus.
Gus, I'm making a video for you, bro.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I went too early and I get that week out.
Bro, did you as soon as you got in the trade, did you set your profits for 50%?
Yes.
So you should. So even if you made that trade, it should have hit it. Did it hit it for you?
Yeah, they stopped me out.
Okay, yeah. So here's what I mean, right? So when you do your little plus sign, you know what I'm talking about on XC, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you do your plus sign. You go to ROE. ROE on stop loss is 40. ROE on the profit is 50.
Yes.
Right? If you did that, as soon as you got in that trade, you should have won the 50%. If you waited,
Oh,
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I put in the 50%. I put a 25% as a profit.
Okay, yeah, you should have hit them both.
Okay. And then when I went to 75, I put a 50%.
Okay, yeah, because you hit that candle hit that.
Yes.
And then it went to, then it didn't go all the way, it didn't go to 75 always, it went back down and wicked you out.
Yes.
But you
That's
should,
what happened.
yeah, you should have hit your two middle, you should have hit your TP1 and TP2.
Oh, do you know what? Actually, they taught me out when I tried to do the TP2. For some reason, they get me out of the trade with zero profits and zero and just break even. I don't know why I did.
Well, practice like use the plus. So the plus sign is used to do two things, right? The plus sign is the very first trade you do. It's your stop loss, and then the plus sign is your take profit, your final close, right? So it's your
Yes.
top and bottom. So as soon as you set that, you have a stop loss at 40 ROE, you have a profit at 50% ROE, right? As soon as those hit, it closes the trade. Now
Okay.
you can go and add more profit based on the not the plus sign, but going to the right where you type in the price and then put
Yes.
25% or how much you want to take. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the first one is you do the plus. You want to get to where you're just taking 50% profits every time, and just win every trade, right? I know. Sometimes there's a lot more profits out there, but that'll protect you from when you do a bad trade, right? So right now you're way too early because the very first thing before we can go long here, we need the 2 hour to break above the 20 line, right? So you need a confirmation of a reversal. Right now you don't have a reversal. You've got a OP still in a downward trend, right? So which means that the 1 hour, right, the 1 hour is not even above the 20 line yet, right? So you're not even at the 1 hour yet.
Yep.
So you need at least some type of push, right? If you go here, right, what do I like to trade? No matter what, on a short, I gotta have a 30-minute red moon, right? So if you're going long, you need at least a 30-minute green moon. Right, you can see here we got rejected on the 30-minute green moon, right? It's not even there yet. So this is still going to be pulling down. You see what I'm saying?
I tried to jump a little earlier.
Yeah, you can't do that, man. Because you have all that momentum, you have no idea how many people are going to panic sell or how many people are going to take the next bounce and dump because they're afraid it's going to keep dumping. You see what I'm saying?
Yep. Yes. So now we have to wait for the 2 hours to go above the 20.
Yeah, at least you need the 1 hour to at least break the 20 line. You need some type of reversal. You don't have anything right now.
Yes.
So me,
Oh, it makes.
I don't like to make a move until the 30-minute goes green. Right? And if I'm going to make a move on a 15-minute, right, I need at least the 1 hour to break the 20. I need multiple. Think of it like this. You always need 3 indicators showing you a move, right? Appreciate you, man. Thanks for the barbells, big dog. And the problem is right here, right? If I look at my 15-minute, right, look at the volume, right? So obviously the volume is way below the 4.5 line, right? So remember, one of the key things that we do is that we never do a long unless there's positive volume. Right? Right here, the 15 has no positive volume. See that?
When we go long, we see what kind of value are we waiting for? The 10? Or they had to break what number?
On what?
On the volume when we try to go long?
No, it just needs to be positive on the 15-minute.
Okay.
Like you see, look at your 15-minute. There's no positive volume here.
Yeah, there's nothing on it.
Right. So basically, all this was right here when it popped up. This is just the dead cat bounce. It's a little bump. It bounces up, and now it's starting to where is it going to settle? Right. So this is the moment of like the beginning of how it's going to settle. Right. And that's what we're looking for here is like where the bottom is. But there's no long here. Like there's no confirmations. We need a 30-minute green moon. We need 15-minute positive volume, right? So there's no positive volume on the 15. So when you go long, right? So when you go long, right, write it on your notes. Long, you need 15-minute positive value, right? Personally, me, I like 30-minute positive value. Yeah, I'm a 30-minute. I like the least I want to see is 30 minutes. I want a 30-minute.
Okay.
I want volume to be positive on the 30-minute. I want the volume to be positive on. I want a green move on a 30-minute. You know what I'm saying? Like I want
Yes.
confirmation, right? Like the market doesn't have enough money to go off of 15 right now. Now, when the market gets better and there's more money, then you can start adjusting to the market. But right now, the market is so weak that you want real confirmation, right? You want that confirmations in there. So if you get a 15-minute green moon, right, you want a 30-minute green moon, right? You want that 30. Now, if you have a 15-minute green moon, you want at least to have 15-minute positive volume, right? You need two things to go together, right? 15-minute moon, at least 15-minute positive volume, right? I mean, if I'm looking at OP right now, if I go to 5 minutes, right, I'm just trying to find positive volume. I don't even have positive volume on the 5-minute. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the minus -7, -5.
Yeah, you're minus.
Yes.
Yeah, you need it above 0.
So we need a combination of the green moon plus positive volume.
Yes. The
Uh-huh.
moon is just telling you that it's coming.
Uh-huh.
So now you got to find out you got to wait for it. So the 15-minute green moon is just to let you know that it's going to start coming. And now you go to the 5 minutes. Go look at your 5-minute, right? See how the 5-minute is making its moves, right? Now what your job is to do here is to watch this 5-minute, and you're watching how the 5-minute starts to gain momentum, right?
Okay.
So here you can see on the 5-minute, if you look there, you see where you had your first 5-minute green moon, there was a burst, right? So the entry point here, the best entry is 15262, right? That's like the bottom of the bottom, right? That's the bottom right there. Now, once it does its first push up, right, it has a pullback. It doesn't really pull back, and it goes for another run. Now, you see how it got to that top there of 15531, and then it had that big candle, that big wick on the 5-minute?
Yes.
Okay, that is what we call the retest. Okay, first push, the retest. So this is the area, the retest area is where you would be looking to get entries. So your entries would actually be somewhere off of 153.50. You see that? You see that big long wick on the 5-minute, and then you see that next candle has a wick. It touches the 53.46 area, and then there's two green candles, and then they come back down again, and then the second red candle touches the 53.46 area.
That's correct.
Right.
Yes.
So right now, that's just letting us know that that's probably a great area to look for entries. And as we start to look at the 5-minute, we can see where the volume is trying to push up, but it keeps getting rejected. So as this starts to pull back, I would be looking like, okay, I'm going to start looking for entries around here once I get some positive value.
Yeah, because they found a support in that area, the 153.436 or 56. They found a support because before they have another week before they start moving up.
Yeah, I mean the thing is your 15404 entry is actually a good entry. It's just you entered too early. Like if you would let the push happen, pulled back, got the big wick out of the way, which is liquidity grab, two wicks came out, and then you got through where it pulls back. See how it goes up, gets rejected, comes back, pushes up. It doesn't make a higher high, makes a higher low, comes back down. Then this is where you would be looking to enter, and that actually is your 15404 again, right there. So it actually becomes a good entry, but you have to let all the craziness kind of roll through. So that's your entry point right there on that little 15404 area right there, right? So for me, I just need to know that it's not going to go continue to head down, right? Because the longer it goes sideways, the more the RSIs become against me, right? So here, what you're waiting for is some type of positive volume, and that's going to start with the 5 minute. So right now you don't even have 5 minute positive volume, so you can't even be thinking that the 30 minute would be positive, or the 15. You see what I'm saying?
And the 15 is all the way in the top.
Yeah.
And like you said, we never trade against the 15.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, just all. I mean, you're waiting for. So the first thing is that before you decide where the 15 is, your first decision is like, okay, is this a long, right? And right now there's no positive volume at all, so this is definitely not a long.
Okay, that's a good point.
Let me see here. Looking on TradingView, but our candles are not exact match. Okay, you need to go up here, guys. Go to your candles right here, and you need to go to Hakin Ashi. Hakin Ashi candles, guys. So right now, guys, you just need to get to where your Carlos. You just need to get to where your you have your checklist, right? First thing is
Yes.
at least positive volume on the 5 minute to even think about a long, right? This is not even close. And what's happening is that during this entire time it's going sideways. What happened? The 15 minute got to the top, which means what? It's going to start dumping now because there's more possibility of this falling down even more because now the 15 is to
Yes.
the top and the 30 is starting to bend and the 1 hour still hasn't got off the floor. So this is this is kind of like a weird scenario where this is still shorting, right? There's nobody buying this coin right now. Now there's just a bunch of holders, and who knows how long they're going to hold. Right? That's why we short
And
instead of long.
they might go short again.
Yeah, they could panic and start selling.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, there's no volume there, right? There's no volume to make this go up. So right now
I didn't see the.
Yeah, there's no volume. You need at least volume. First thing is I want the 1 hour past the 20 at least to start it off. And before I even think about a long, I need a 5 minute positive volume. Right? So all this looks like it actually wants to dump. So if you get in here and you pick this up, you might be looking at an OP dump here. All right. Somebody said XRP was dumping. So, but that's what I would look at here, man, is that during that entire time that you were waiting for positive volume, you actually didn't get it. And then the 15 minute made it all the way to the top, and now it's going to drag it down again. And then wherever this 15 minute drags it down to, that's where I would start looking as like, possible support lines or resistance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes,
whether it's going to be...
the volume to go up.
Yeah, this could go all the way back down to 15291. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
it could drop. I mean,
Okay.
now, I grabbed a quick short there, just looking at it at your 15404. I mean, we're up 11% on there, right? So this could definitely continue down. You never go. So the thing about going long is you never go long unless it's like everything's confirmed. Like there has to be people who are buying have to have like real reasons to buy. That's kind of like the difference in what they do.
That's true.
Yeah. So this is if this keeps failing to go up, then the sellers will get even more nervous and they'll keep selling. So let's see how this kind of plays out here. But you're right at a bottom here. You just have to start. I know that's the problem is that that this is the bottom, right? The bottom could be 15250 up to 15523, and then somewhere in between here, right, is the entry, right? Is the entry going to be 15348? I mean, we don't know. We're not going to know until we get positive volume, right? Or it could go all the way back to the total bottom. It could break through the middle, go all the way back and wick down to 15254, right? We just don't know right now because we don't have any confirmation of positive value, right? So that's the thing is that longs you want more, right? So you want at least positive volume on the 5 minute. You want a 15 minute green moon, which you have. Now you need positive volume on the 5 minute, and you need the 1 hour to break past the 20. Right, so that's kind of what I want. Is I want all those things kind of letting me know that we have, some strength here, right? Because without that strength, it's gonna come down. But I mean, that's the problem with the long is that you're looking here, And a lot of things here say, okay, we're in a really nice area for a long, which you are. You just have to wait this out. So now the thing is that when the 15 minute comes down, right? If it doesn't lose any price, okay, let's say the price stays at 54, 10, 20, right? And the 15 gets to the bottom and starts to head up, then you know that you're in an area that has really good support, and you can start looking for entries on that last lowest point right there. You say, okay, now I just need, how's the 30 minute look? Now I just need everything to, finish up. My whole thing here is that you can see the 30 minute is getting rejected and wants to move down. So we got a little time here, but there are going to be big moves. They're going to go from 154 to 154.22, 153.90, right? Until there's some value here. This is just normal trading right now.
So it's gonna be just a quick 50%, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, your long's going to be good if you can get there. So you're just waiting for it, right? So you're just waiting for volume. You're in a good spot right here. Like you're in a good spot. You just don't want to enter that early until you see something confirmation, right? You see here, see how the 5 minute is starting to fight its way down? See how it boom, boom, boom. That is a sign of volume coming. See that? That's a sign that, we're getting close to a reversal here, because the 5 minute is fighting. See the RSI bouncing, bouncing, bouncing? That is it.
Yes.
That's it fighting to basically get ahead. So this might be an area right here where you say, okay, 154.20 is my area, 154.30. This might be the area. But I want to see confirmation on a green, right? That's what I want to see. Like I want to see some green volume in here, showing me that we're going to get some moves in that direction, right? And you can see here's your volume right here. Look at your volume moving up. You're slowly pushing your way up. Let's do it.
But it's still in minus 14. It's still in the negative.
Yeah.
Okay.
But what you'll see is that you're starting to get into an area where you can start seeing the floor, right? You see these candles here? See how small they are?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And even though the 15's coming down, you're still gaining here. So like I said here, 154.20, right? So 154.20 area is looking like your entry down to 153.87. So this is an entry area. You just have to wait for that one, we just need a little more confirmation. So
okay.
Yeah. So the 15 minute, you're right about what you're thinking. You're just not giving yourself enough time for it to adjust.
So it had to be a little more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like making a trade or making the best trade. Right. So right now,
the best.
Yeah. Right now you're just making a trade. Right. So the best trade. We'll come back to this trade. The best trade is going to be when we have more than just a 15 minute green moon, which we have right here, right? So probably the best trade would be a 15 minute green, 15 minute red moon back to a green moon. Remember the moon reset? That might be the best trade.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I got to have at least a 30 minute green moon, right? So at this point right here, I need a 30 minute green moon in here before I consider this a great trade, like a trade. You see what I'm saying? So just by having that, I know I'm going to come back. We're going to come back to this and take another look, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Carlos. He said Carlos told me to buy. But yeah, so
Hey, BC, one.
yeah, go ahead.
I have seen you trading on MEXC on the 15 minutes. That's any difference to that one on the 3 minutes?
What do you mean MEXC?
Yeah, when you, I mean, yesterday, the day before you went on live and you were doing a live trade,
Are you talking
you
about?
were on the 15.
Are you talking about these
time
things
frame.
up here?
Yes.
Yeah, those don't matter.
MEXC.
Guys. Yeah, those are for the chart. I don't use the chart.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, that could be on anything. Like I don't use that. So this is just like a trading view chart, right? You have a 3 minute, 5 minute. I'm not using these to trade. So it could be on a 4 hour, it doesn't matter. These are only time frames if you're using this time frame. It has nothing to
Oh.
do, yeah, it has nothing to do with the trade.
Okay, I thought it was gonna be something. All right,
No,
makes
no,
sense.
that's just if you were using it. Now, if I didn't have Trading View, then I would be charting on MEXC, and I would be charting from my 4 hour to my 2 hour to my 1 hour, and then I'd be entering on my 3 minute. But this doesn't have any of my indicators. There's no moon indicators here. There's no, yeah. So that's why I don't use MEXC, because I don't have my indicators. These
Okay.
are meaningless. Yeah. These are just. That's if you're using the chart. A lot of times, I mean, I don't even know what time frame it's on. I don't look at these charts at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't look at any of that. I mean, there is like, if you guys, I was thinking about the other day about doing a tutorial about trading on MEXC, but we just don't use we don't have any of the indicators on MEXC. Right, so it's just, I'd have to, that you could use a basic RSI system, but yeah, there's no, none of this matters because I'm not using MEXC. I'm using TradingView.
Okay.